Good evening, everyone. Our apologies for being a little bit late. We had a bit of a meeting that we had to get wrapped up. We send our regrets from Councillor Baker. He isn't able to attend tonight. Adoption of the minutes, point 4, 4.1, recommendation that the minutes of the special council meeting held on Tuesday, June the 27th, 2017 be adopted. Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? Any discussion? All those in favor signify. Opposed, carried, and so ordered. Thank you. 4.2. Excuse me. Recommendation that the minutes of the annual meeting held on Tuesday, June 27, 2017 be adopted. Any errors or omissions? Any discussion? Any comments? Thank you. All those in favor signify. Opposed, carried, and so ordered. We need to add an item to the agenda, if you'll be agreeable, is to, under new business, do an 8.4, a donation to the Red Cross for the those suffering because of the forest fires in the various areas. So it'll be an 8.4. Is everybody okay with that? Thank you. General matters and delegations. We have none. Nothing, Melissa. Thank you. Unfinished business. 6.1, Councillor Norgard made the following notice of motion at the June 27, 2017 regular council meeting, file 1853. Recommendation that the city provide a letter of support to the Arts Council in their grant application. Moved, seconded. Any discussion? Oh, Linda? Oh, Councillor Brown.
Can somebody remind me again what the grant application was? I thought we were going to have the grant application with us at the time of making this decision. Does anyone remember what it was for?
I think, isn't it for that provincial? There's a provincial grant that they're trying to get, that we're trying to support them on? I think that's what it is.
Yeah, we've never had any documentation on it. No, we haven't. We had them speak to us verbally at the last meeting, but we have not had any follow-up documentation. And I still don't know what it's for. They talked before about having already an $11,000 grant for dance instructors, but they still have never said what this particular letter of support is for.
Well, we don't have a copy of the letter.
I've got a copy of their presentation from last meeting, but that doesn't tell us what this letter of support is required for.
Well, where is it? Is it? Do we need to get it? I mean, we have to deal with it, so would you mind? All right, we'll hang tough here for a minute. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's for that provincial grant that they.
So perhaps we could recess the meeting?
Pardon?
Recess the meeting?
Yes, recessed, yes.
Are you looking for this? Is she looking for this? The letter that came with us last week? Melissa?
Yes.
Are you looking for this from last week?
That was their presentation. This was the letter on the.
Okay, okay.
You got the letter there? May I see it? Oh, my goodness.
Are you going to be able to see that, or do you want me to?
Oh,
go
no,
get
no,
the
I can
hard
see
copy?
it. No, I can see it. No.
Can you magnify that about 100 times?
Grant from Creative BC Live Music will allow us to reestablish concert programming in our fiscal year 2017-18. We're planning 2 major concerts, and they named the concerts. So the grant is in support of getting a grant from Creative BC Live Music.
It's just a letter of support.
Yes, they're only asking for a letter of support on the grant application.
Yeah, they need
And can I ask that they send us the documentation for that, whether we approve tonight or not? We still need the documentation as to what it is that we're supporting.
Yeah, you can amend it if you want to do that. Yeah, we can get that.
I can ask for it.
Yeah, we'll ask for it, Councillor Brown. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify. Oh, sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
Just from past experience, the Arts Council would require a letter of support from the city as one of their major support, so that they can apply for grants. Doesn't mean the city's getting the money, it's just they need to have an indication from the city
That we support what they're doing.
that we support what they're doing, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Brown?
And I understand that, but we have a policy that says when people come to us wanting letters of support, they need to tell us what the support is for and provide the grant and the application form, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I could have done that. She was here today, too. Did you have your hand up, Councillor Getz? No? Any further discussion? I'm going to do your mic, Kurt. All those in favor signify. Opposed, carried, and so ordered. Thank you. I'll keep your phone. I'll give it to you after, in case we need it again, Melissa. Notice of motion, rental suites, 6.2. Councillor Brown made the following notice of motion at the June 27th, 2017 regular council meeting, file 0595. Recommendation that the city review ways to create opportunities for more rental suites to be made available, and that incentives be reviewed with the possibility of providing ownership buy-in to register secondary suites. What is your wish? Thank you. Moved and seconded. Discussion? Councillor Brown.
Well, again, this is something that I requested a few meetings back, and we looked at a big, huge issue the last time on the one part of it, which was the registry, and that was the least needed part from my point of view. What I really would like to do is for the city to look at ways of making more rental suites available, but rental suites that are legal rental suites, not illegal rental suites. And in order to do that, we need to be able to provide incentives for those, well, first off, for those that may want to make their suite legal, but we also need to make opportunities available. We need to provide affordable housing, affordable, safe housing. We've got a lot of need in this community, and I'm hearing that some of the bylaws, or the bylaws on secondary suites, is rather constricting. Hence the reason we've got so many illegal suites. People don't conform, and yet they go and do an illegal suite without even attempting to make it legal. So I'd like to be able to have us look at this issue, because there's absolutely nothing here from staff on a response to this kind of motion. So I would like to have staff review this, ways to create opportunities. We're needing rental suites, we're needing accommodation, we're needing secondary suites, we're needing affordable housing, we're needing a whole lot of stuff. But I'm just looking at the whole idea of secondary suites and making ways so that our community can have a secondary suite without going through, and I'm not saying go against the building codes, but we need to look at having some incentives out there. A lot of communities are doing this. A lot of communities have been very successful with this. I would just like us to take a look at it.
Any further discussion? Councillor Christopherson.
I'm a great believer that we need to be proactive in finding solutions. That doesn't mean we'll always find the solution, or that we'll find the answers that we're hoping for. But I would like to see us look for opportunities and to help with the problem that is already here, and I think it's going to get worse with trying to find accommodation. And so I'd like the city to take a leadership role in being proactive. whether that's in the form of a committee or just research at the present time, what other places are doing. I'd like to hear some information back from staff, whether what we're asking for is doable. So I'll support the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Prowl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think this report is actually quite comprehensive. It does say that we don't have a secondary suite registry. I think maybe, excuse me, that is one of the first steps that maybe staff could take, is to try to get an actual registry. But it certainly doesn't restrict people from having a secondary suite if they want to. And how to persuade people to do that, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Getz.
So for me, the incentives are quite clear. You legally build your secondary suite, get it registered, and you get rent money. There's your incentive. I don't think we need to go out and sweeten the pot and say you get 5 years tax-free and we wash your car and all the rest of that kind of stuff. It's real simple. There's rules to follow within a city. Follow the rules, everything's fine.
Councillor Brown.
I like to believe that our current bylaws do restrict people from putting in secondary suites. I think there are other communities that have lessened the burden to the homeowner to a degree that makes it a little more doable, or it makes it a little easier than just saying, well, I can't conform, so I'll just put an illegal suite down there. Otherwise, we wouldn't have as many illegal suites out there as we have. If it was easy to put the suites in, they'd be legal, but they're not. I also worry about the services that we build to the illegal suites. And I think we've created a potential liability for us, especially if we're billing services to a unit that is unsafe. And I think we've got a good potential liability there. I'd like to see us clean up our secondary suites and make it easier and more of them around.
Any further discussion? Anyway, I'm where Councillor Getz is. You know, they have to be safe, they have to be done properly, they have to have all the stuff in it that they should have. I don't think that we're asking too much of any resident that wants to put a suite in their basement or rent out part of their house, that we're making it that difficult for them not to be able to do it. So I'm not so sure that this is the way for us to go. So any, Councillor Christopherson.
My biggest concern is that the city has acknowledged that we have illegal suites by collecting fees on garbage and water. But we haven't made an effort to either deal with the illegal suites or to encourage legal suites. I don't know if there's a great solution for it, but I would like to hear from staff whether to do a little bit of research and find out what other jurisdictions have done so that we take a proactive approach rather than a reactive one. So I will support the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify. Those opposed? Tie. Motion's lost. Oh, just a minute. Well, yeah, it is even with Councillor Baker not here?
Yeah, it's of those present.
Those, okay, thank you. Thank you. 6.3, Fire Hall Phase 2 Expansion Project DVP Application. 6.3, Excerpt Minutes, June 13, 2017, Regular Council Meeting, City of Merritt Fire Hall Phase 2 Expansion Project, Director of Engineering and Development, June 30th, 2017, Report File 3090 DVP 2017-01. Recommendation that Council approves application DVP 2017-01. Moved, seconded, thank you. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried and so ordered. Animal control bylaws, 7.1. Draft animal control amending bylaw addressing the issue of pigeons. Director of Corporate Services, July 4th, 2017 report, file 3900.2197, recommendation that City of Merritt Annual Control Amendment Bylaw Number 2222, 2017, which amends Animal Control Bylaw Number 212197 to regulate the nuisance caused by feeding of pigeons or other birds, be introduced and read a first time. Okay, so, no seconder? No mover? Okay, so, if we don't do it the first time, is there any point in going to the other two? We just keep right on going. Thank you. So there's no motion, no seconder. Point 8, new business, Nicola Valley Community Human Resources Association lease agreement, Nicola Family Therapy, Director of Corporate Services, June 23rd, 2017 report, file 280.21. Recommendation that council renew the lease agreement between the City of Merritt and the Nicola Valley Community Human Resources Association for a 3-year term, and that the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. What is your wish? Moved and seconded? Moved and seconded. Discussion? Councilor Prowl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I didn't see anywhere here that it says, how often do they rent it? How many people actually attend? I mean, is this a value service, and who all takes advantage of it and who attends?
Councilor Getz?
So for those who don't know, it's the office on the very corner of this building here. This is for people who cannot afford to go to other places. This has been a recurring issue now for about as long as I've sat in this chair. We've always had the belief that the offices in this building need to pay for themselves. I think after this 3-year term, I think we really need to get serious whether we're going to continue to do this or we're actually going to use that room for something else where we can actually start to get some money back on it. I understand about supporting a group, but when it gets to the point where it's continually asked for caps and no raises, then maybe it's time to find another place to hang your hat, because this building was built so it could actually pay for itself. So I'm going to support the 3 years because I think it's an important situation, but when we get close to 2019, even though some of us won't be here, possibly, I think there needs to be a good discussion with this group to let them know that there's a certain dollar value to that office space and it needs to be met.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Brown?
I'm thinking along the same lines as Councillor Getz. We're subsidizing their rent, and even though we have the rate on the back here, it's still not anywhere near the commercial rates of other institutions in town. And we cannot be in the business of competition with other commercial entities. So I agree, we have to keep, if this organization cannot afford to pay the rent, then there's a whole lot of empty buildings around town that they could take a shot at. This is prime space. We want to have a good rate for it. And it's got nothing to do with the organization. I think they do a fine job on what they're doing, but when it comes to the rent, this is what it is. If they can't afford it, they need to move on. But because we've let it go this far without a rental agreement, I'm willing to look at this one last agreement because it does have the increases in it. And when we continually charge the taxpayer for downloading a provincial funding, I believe this organization is funded by both the province and NVIT. So when we are looking at subsidies for organizations that can afford to pay it, it's the taxpayer that picks up the tab. and I would like that cycle to stop.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify. Opposed, carried, and so ordered. Thank you. Uh, 8.2, Section 57, Notice of Title, 1525 Blair Street, Director of Engineering and Development, June 28th, 2017 report, file 3800. Recommendation that council direct staff to place a Section 57 notice on the title of 1525 Blair Street. Move, seconder, moved and seconded, discussion. Councilor Getz.
Starting to see quite a few of these 57s. This is our second one in 2 months.
Yep.
For the life of me, I don't understand how people do not understand there's a process to follow for building permits and everything in this community. There's rules to be followed. I'm getting a little tired of always having to look like the bad guy and having to fight social media all the time because of decisions that somebody else has made that decide that they don't want to follow the rules. Both these 57s are from groups of people who feel the rules do not apply to them and they can move forward and do whatever they want. Well, the message is you can't. You can't do it. Follow the rules, and if you can't follow the rules, sell your properties and find somewhere else to go to, because I'm getting pretty tired of this.
Councilor Prowl.
I'm certainly on the same page. I don't like people flouting the bylaws that we have that everybody else is supposed to follow. So I'm quite willing to be in favor of this one.
Thank you. Councilor Brown.
I agree, and this has been, again, one of those things that has taken us years to get to this place. And I would like some way to shorten that span of time. And I know you've been working on it, but you've certainly, I would assume you've got all of council's support in being able to shorten some of those things up. We need to start doing what we say we're going to do. So yes, I'm in favor of this.
Thank you. I agree with Councilor Getz. There is absolutely no reason for that. The thing that we need to do in the future, though, is we have to get on top of these a lot faster. Some of them have been sitting around far too long, and we've been letting it go and trying to be the nice guys. And I'm right on with Councilor Getz. We're on a situation like this. There's rules. Everybody else is following them. Whoever these folks are have to do the same. So any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried, and so ordered. Thank you. Royal Canadian Legion, 09096, file 1851. Recommendation that council direct staff to prepare a letter of support for the Royal Canadian Legion, recognizing the achievements and services provided by the Royal Canadian Legion to members of the community, including veterans, seniors, and youth, as well as their contributions to the community, including the Food Bank, Soup Kitchen, Gillis House, Nicola Meadows, Bailey House, School Lunch Program, and the Poppy Bursary High School graduate. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Brown?
Again, I'm not exactly sure what we're supporting here. We're sending a letter of support, and I assume they're going to be looking for a grant proposal, but there's absolutely nothing in this report that says what they're looking for, what they're going to do with it, what organization they're going to. We have no grant application with it. Anybody have any idea of what this is for, who the grant supplier is, where the funds are coming from?
Didn't you brought a letter in that laid all that stuff out, isn't it? Is it not in here?
There's a letter that talks about,
It's in here, yeah.
it doesn't say what,
Councilor Prowl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to make a small amendment to this recommendation. So it would read, first line, that council directs staff to prepare a letter, delete of support, and just make it to the Legion recognizing their contributions. So they're not so do you understand what I'm saying? The council directs staff to prepare a letter of recognition to the Royal Canadian Legion for the achievements and services provided to this community.
Is there a seconder to that amendment? Moved and seconded. Okay, so it will now read that council directs staff to prepare a letter for the Royal Canadian Legion recognizing the achievements as we've read out earlier. So the of support would be removed.
Yeah, because they're not asking for support.
Yeah, it's okay. On the amendment?
On the amendment.
Yes. You punch it and then I'll punch it. There,
Okay, we got it.
got it.
I still am not clear on the purpose. Why are we doing this? I mean, I understand that they're a great organization and they do great and wonderful things throughout the city of Merritt, but what's the purpose to us writing a letter of support?
I think the
Or of
purpose
recognition.
is exactly what they're asking for. The Legion does an awful lot of things within the community. I don't believe that they get the recognition, not only from us, but from other organizations that they do support, just to let them know that we do appreciate everything that they do and that we support them and we encourage them to carry on. So I think that's really what it's all about. Councillor Christopherson. Gotcha. Mike.
Okay, I need a memory check here because I thought when this letter first came in, it was specifically so they could apply for the seniors grant that they did not apply for when pickleball was in the running for that. And I thought there was a letter in here saying that they held off on their time until pickleball was turned down. And they wanted to use a letter of support from the city so they could apply for the seniors grant. And I believe that was at the last meeting. Can we have a clarification on that?
Can you clear that up, Councillor Prout?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, originally, but they sent their application in quite some time ago, and it has nothing to do with support. It did not have a accompanying letter of support from the city. What they would like is just to be recognized for all the work that they've done. And I know that we have sent other letters to other groups identifying their contributions, and that's what they want. Thank you.
Councillor Getz.
So the Councillor Christopherson is partially correct to a certain degree because we felt that there was too many people going after that same grant, so we decided we needed to kind of pick one. And we went with the Pickleball Association sort of thing. There was a lot of people coming after that grant. And we thought that it might muddy the waters if we approved every single body, or if we wanted to do something with it for the city, we have kind of played our cards out. I also think the Legion is at the point where a lot of Legions are struggling to maintain and keep running because a lot of the members have passed on. A lot of people have a belief that in order to belong to the Legion, you have to have had some service at some point in time. I don't believe that's correct any longer. And I think a lot of the Legions are closing down basically because they don't have the numbers. And again, I think what this is just to throw up a balloon saying we're here. And you know, to me, it's a little sad that we actually have to write a letter acknowledging what they do when we all know what they do. And so I'm willing to support it. It's fine with me. It's not for a grant. It's for just saying it's an attaboy letter. But I think it's a little sad that we have to do this at this point in time.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Well, my father is one of the oldest veterans here, living veterans in Merritt. So it's not an organization that I'm going to say no to. I just don't understand the purpose of a letter of recognition. What are they going to do with it? Do we do this often? If it's not for a grant or a grant proposal, do we have a program in place that recognizes great significance from organizations? And maybe that's what we need to look at rather than just writing a letter of support.
I don't
A
know
letter of
whether we need to
recognition.
have a policy or a program of somebody in the community that does the kind of work that they do that come to us and we recognize, and as Councillor Getz said, why would we not as a city council support that? To me, it's the right thing to do. If it wasn't and they didn't do, and we didn't appreciate it, our answer would be no. I think that there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Any further discussion?
I was gonna, I was gonna say, it's not that I'm saying it's wrong. I just don't understand the purpose.
I guess I tried to explain it, but I didn't do a very good job. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify. Opposed? On the amendment, I'm sorry, yes, on the amendment. All those in favor signify. Opposed? On the main motion, all those in favor signify. Opposed? Carried, thank you. And 8.4, we added to the agenda. We should entertain a motion to send a donation to the is it the Canadian Red Cross? Is that the proper name of it? The Red Cross, anyway, of $10,000 to be put towards assisting all of the evacuees and those that have had loss due to the fires in the various regions throughout the province. Moved, seconded, discussion? Councillor Prowl?
I don't want to be cheap, but do we have that kind of money that's floating around spare?
It wouldn't be there if we didn't have it.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Brown?
And my response, my request isn't, do we have it? I assume we do, but where's it coming from? What pocket of funding?
Councillor,
Does anybody know?
Mr. Boven?
Thank you, Your Worship. The Director of Finance and IT would probably come back with another report seeking approval to make a budget amendment and take this from unrestricted surplus. And then in the fall, when she does a budget amendment, this will come from that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify. Opposed, carried, and so ordered, and that will be with a challenge to all of the cities across the country to do the same, right? Councillor Getz, you had your, okay? Thank you. Yep. Okay, notices of motion. I have one. I would like to bring a motion forward to the next council meeting that we do an RFP to construct the columbariums, is that how you pronounce that properly, up at the cemetery in this budget year. Any other notices of motion? Reports from council. Council. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, Kurt.
Okay, I don't know if this is worth kicking a can at, but I didn't support the notion, the motion about the pigeon bylaw because it didn't address the issue that I had brought up. So I'd like to put forth a notice of motion that will ask that the real issue be taken care of. Is that permissible?
Well, as long as it's different, if it's not, there is a waiting period, is there not? So if it's different than what, then yes, it's allowable. If not, it's not.
Well, the motion that, my motion wasn't dealt with in what came back from staff.
Okay, let's hear your new one.
Because it was dealing with feeding of birds, including wild birds, it did not address the issue that raising domestic birds without any limits, without any requirements, is causing a problem. So I would still like to have a bylaw that has numbers in there, because we limit the number of dogs we can have, we limit the number of cats we have, we limit the number of chickens we can have in town, but we don't, and we also have limits on uncontrolled breeding, but that doesn't happen with pigeons. And that's the issue. It's with the domestic pigeons. Wildlife is impacted on it, but it's the domestic pigeons that need to be dealt with. So, can I bring back a notice of motion at another time specifically on that? Because what was done in council didn't address the issue that has been brought forth to me.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Miles?
Thank you, Your Worship, through to Councillor Christofferson. So in the Wildlife Act, pigeons are considered wildlife. They're not considered domestic, which is, it's harder to regulate. You do need that authority. They're not considered domestic.
Homing pigeons aren't considered domestic?
Vertebrates, I think, is how they defined that. What, vertebrates? Something like that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'll seek clarification and come back then.
Okay.
It's an issue.
Okay, thank you. Any further notice of motion? Councillor Prowl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like council to invite Don Parno, the local Fire Smart rep, to the next council meeting to give a in-service on protecting your home and property from wildfires.
That's a notice of motion? Can't be, because if it is, we can't deal with it till the next meeting. You want somebody to come to the next council meeting. Okay, so,
You may want to seek a You may want to seek a committee of the whole.
yeah. Yeah,
Does that make a difference?
You can rescind your notice of motion.
yeah,
You can take it back.
yeah. I think what you're asking is a good idea. I just don't, if we do it that way, it's gonna take 4 weeks and, yeah, so I would recommend you withdraw it, Jenny, and we'll figure out a way to have that happen.
Draw the motion.
Thank you. Okay, any further notices of motion?
But can I still get done?
Pardon?
Can that still get done?
Yeah, we'll, I think it's a good idea. Like I said, I'll talk to Mr. Bolvin and Ms. Miles, and we'll, like Councillor Getz said, if we bring him to a COW meeting. Okay, reports from council. Oops, sorry, Councillor Getz.
Just a point, I understand where Councillor Prowl is going, but I don't think we should mention someone by name unless they've been informed that their name might come up at a meeting.
Okay.
I think we should just say that we need someone from the Fire Smart group, because I really just don't think someone's name should be mentioned unless they know what's happening.
No, no problem. Good point. Thank you very much. Okay, now, reports from council. Councillor Brown, we'll start with you this evening, please.
Okay, thank you. During the last 2 weeks, I don't have dates, I went to one of my book club meetings. I'm an avid reader, and I enjoy discussing different books. I also went to Canada Day celebrations for part of it. I watched the fireworks with my sister in the evening, and we watched it from my mom's front yard, and as many others have commented by emails and whatever, they were great. They were great this year, despite the dogs not liking them. We've also started up again the Syrian Family Refugee Group. We're calling it the Merit, I don't know what we're calling it. Something about, not refugee, Merit, you know what, I don't know the name of it. The Syrian Family Group, anyways. We've had a few meetings on that. It looks like it might be a possibility that they're going to be here and be here probably September, October, so it's a possibility. I toured Base Coast along with a number of other councillors, and it's the first time I was out there, and it was quite impressive, Some good stuff happening out there. Some of the stuff I had to close my eyes to, but that's okay. We also had a meeting with IHA, Interior Health, with Chris Mazukowicz and, is it John Fee, the chairman of the board? It was a good meeting. We talked about with the mental health seats, they had, I think, 72 or 73 or something like that provided from the province to increase their mental health capacity. And what they've done is given 15 to the First Nations community so that they can potentially look at beds for within their own communities. And I thought that was a good thing at this point. We need all the help we can get in terms of addictions, and I think that's a good way to go. I don't know what this last one is. I've got one other comment here that I'm not even clear on what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it could be. I think I need a handwriting class. Sorry, I have no idea what the comment meant. I've got half a comment and it's not clear. I'll bring it up the next time. Thank you.
Councillor Norgard.
So, yeah, most of what I've been to has already been talked about. Bags Coast was great, and I would never be there during the actual thing because just being there that evening, it was way too loud. Canada Day, I spent most of the time on the floor with my dog. I was trying to convince her that we weren't being bombed and she wasn't going to die because of the fireworks. I have a bit of a different opinion about our meeting with IHA. I think it was a good meeting. I think that they're identifying some of their issues and trying to move forward on them. We've been telling them for years that we have issues with substance abuse and mental health issues in the community, and we need more help doing that. Fortunately, they've now admitted that themselves, which I thought was good. But I was wearing a short skirt, so I still felt a bit of smoke going up my ass, so, yeah. And I just want to let you know that it's being kind of published out there in the other rest of Canada that BC is burning and don't come here. I had cancellations on the weekend because people were afraid to be here. So just so you know it's out there, perhaps we need to be letting people know that Merritt's not burning and we're open for business.
I dealt with the same thing today, but they're coming, so. Councillor Prowl.
Thank you, Your Worship. So on Wednesday, the 28th, I did attend that Fire Smart seminar. It was very, very interesting. And yesterday, or day before yesterday, I spent most of my time cleaning any dead leaves from around the house. My biggest problem is that there is a Russian olive tree nearby, and I had to get down the window wells to clean all that out. But I can't get up and do my gutters, so I'm looking for some dummy. Yeah, right. On the 29th, Thursday, we had Adopt a Road. 3 councillors attended. Most of the rubbish is on whatever side that is because of the wind. Am I allowed to say? Okay. So on June the 30th, I did attend the Legion Week Roundup, and I went to the dog show, and they seemed to appreciate a member of council stepping in and welcoming them, and they certainly remembered the mayor from last year. On Saturday, July the 1st, I went to Canada Day, and I consider that a huge success, and the public really liked the event at Central Park. And it was a bonus to have the cruisers attend on the trip across Canada. I collected pins from every province except the prairies. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for providing merit pins to them. And I hope they have a good trip. It was a wonderful day from the opening ceremonies right down to the fireworks, and I heard nothing but best ever. And I'm always impressed, as an aside, I'm always impressed how people will automatically stand to attention as soon as they hear bagpipes. So that's still ingrained in people. And lots of comments about the massive flag and the music and the cake and all the events. So thank you to all the staff for all that worked so hard. On July the 5th, I attended the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. we're trying to figure out the benefits to local business from big events. And I'll probably bring a motion forward eventually to add it to the business walk for next year. I went up to the Base Coast walk as well, and it's just an incredible venue. They keep increasing their capacity by about roughly 500 a year. I will be attending tomorrow the chamber meeting with the logging show. They do know that, excuse me, that city council wants a coyote. And I did take a copy of our, thank you, to them. And the carver that Merritt is getting is the head carver, and it's gonna be quite big. And the issue is, where do you keep it? Because I guess the bear that's at Aspen Planers is in the building, and it's starting to crack. So it's gonna be a bit of a discussion as to where is the best place for it. On Saturday, I went up to the information center, and it was absolute chaos up there. The poor staff, they were going nuts, trying to confirm, close roads, and which way they could go. And there, again, there was well over 100 vehicles in the lot. Most of the complaints were lack of signage, and I believe we're going to try to address that when we see the Minister of Highways. I did take some people down, escorted them down to Claybank so they could park their trailer. Oh, they just loved it. They thought that was a wonderful place to be. And went across the road and paid their $20. And Saturday I went up to Gasoline Alley, and I think Mr. Councillor Getz has addressed this. It was a big mistake going up there. I was 20 minutes to get back out, and I never did get any gas. Those big trailers trying to pull into right off the highway there into that little, it's just, and there's too many people that park, gas up, leave their vehicle, and go get food. And we don't seem to be able to catch a break. I'm sure everybody agrees. Between a lousy spring and then floods and now fire. And I think I'm going to bring up, maybe at the next council meeting, all these kittens that are being advertised, give away now, come and get them. There's 10. So I don't get that, why people are still having cats that aren't spayed. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Christopherson.
Nowhere's near that busy. Attended the July 1st celebrations, and I thought they were very well done, and did hear a lot of comments that Central Park was an excellent location, mainly because of the parking. You can get in and out and more cars easier, so I heard a lot of comments that way. The Lions pancake breakfast was great. I couldn't believe the size of their cooking trays, man. So I went to the community band and the choir presentations, and I think Merritt has, kudos to them. They did Merritt well. They are excellent ambassadors for Merritt. Art in the Park, the Fire Smart presentation. Couldn't believe all the cars that were the Canadian Coasters tour came through, and that was quite a coup for Merritt to get them here on July the 1st as they're heading all the way across Canada. So a job well done. July the 5th, Economic Development and Tourism Committee, and I'm surprised, Councillor Prowl, that you called it Gasoline Alley after all the discussion that we had about referring to it as DeWolf Way. I also have received now the report from the Merritt Healthcare Community Consultation, and the draft report now is complete, and we'll have to decide how best to make it available to the public and the others. I've suggested that we have the report available to council, mayor and council, and the delegates that were represented at the meeting first, and then perhaps we can put it on the city webpage or something along that line so that the public can have a look at it, and then we'll have to decide where to proceed from there. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Getz.
Thank you, Your Worship. So we'll just do the gas buddy stuff real quick. Merit today, $1.12.9, down a penny from the last time we met. Kelowna still the same at $1.10.8. Vernon the same at $1.99. Kamloops $1.03.4. Last time we met it was $1.03.9. Vancouver $1.29.9. They're the only people that went up, and Prince George went down a penny to 94.9. World oil is 45.04. Last time we met it was 44.24. Did pretty much the same thing as everybody else. Did social planning on the 6th. Went up to Base Coast. Hats off to the two ladies that run a fine show up there. I've always said those two should be teaching other promoters how to do an event, because they certainly do it very well. Little Britches Rodeo, I attended for a brief little bit on Saturday. Enjoyed it, and haven't been there since my niece graduated from that, so it was kind of nice to go back and see that again. And that is it for me.
Thank you. I went to jail on June the 28th, and it was fun. It was a fun day. They come up and got me and hauled me out and took me in the police car, and we did very, very well. I think the total was over $7,000, and their goal was, I think, to get 1,000. And they wanted each one of us that were arrested to raise $100, and I think that we did. And kudos to to Sky. I think he raised the most money and he worked his buns off, but it was a fun day. The kind of thing that I really like to get involved in.
Well, I think I remember telling them to keep people they wouldn't.
Well, yeah, I know, but that's okay. Anyway, I did guard training on the 29th. On July 1st, I went to the dog show, did Central Park. It's all been mentioned. Did the breakfast. It was a great breakfast. All you could eat, actually. It was very, very well done. Fireworks was super. The Canada Cruisers, I went around to every one of them that was there and parked and introduced myself, gave each and every one of them a pin for the city, and they were very appreciative of it. And in fact, a couple of them came over after and said, "Can we have some more, because we want to hand them out." So that was very well done. There was a lot of work in that, and the people really, really enjoyed Merit, well, the short time that they were here. Like I said, the fireworks was absolutely great. Base Coast Tour was super, and it's already been said what they do and what a fine job they do there. The Interior Health Association meeting that we went to, Councillor Brown, Councillor Norgard, and myself, I still have trouble with Interior Health, but Councillor Brown and Councillor Norgard put their feet to the fire on a number of issues. I think it was a good meeting. I have to think about it, but I'll just leave it at that for now. But again, Councillor Brown and Councillor Norgard did a great job in that meeting on the issues that we're concerned with here. I did a celebration of life on the weekend. I also attended, I think I mentioned, but I did attend the dog show on Saturday and Sunday. Vic Robinson, I don't know how many of you have known him, but he's a very long-time citizen, 41 years at Aspen Planers, passed away, and I was invited to stop in there, which I did. He was also a friend. Little Britches Rodeo, I went there Saturday and I went there Sunday, and like Mike, it's a lot of fun watching those kids. We had a meeting today, actually, with Kathleen Harvey and another gentleman from Destination BC, bringing us up to date on what is happening with 286. The only thing that we can tell you right now is that on January the 12th of this year, Destination BC will no longer be involved in it. They've given us some information. They're going to get some more to us, and when we get that, we'll get it to you so that we can fill you in with all the details about what they suggested to us today. And I attended the BC Rodeo Association meeting last night. They've got a really good program all lined up, including doing something for Ty Posabon. at the rodeo prior to the start of the bull riding. They're going to do something. They will probably be getting a hold of us. They're going to talk to Luke and Leanne about the signs that we've done, about putting them up somewhere at the rodeo grounds. I talked with Chad Bestplug from the Professional Rodeo Association, and he's going to be talking with them too about doing something special at the rodeo. So all in all, it's been busy, but it's all been fun. Information items, there are 5. Is there any one there that, Councillor Brown? Okay.
There was just something I wanted to say. I read my notes, and as soon as I hung up, I realized what I was trying to say.
What?
This was a comment from IHA while we were in the meeting, and I asked them, what can the city do to support the Health Council in furthering making it the best it can be? And what they said was that they needed the support of the city in order to thrive, and that over the last 6 years, or prior to the last 6 years, it's been really hard to recruit to merit. And in the last 6 years, it's been much easier to recruit. It seems like the message being given at this time is more inviting to others to come into town. So I think that was just some kudos for the city, and I think our communication, our partnerships with other organizations and our city staff, and I think we've been doing a lot better over the last little while, and I think that needed to be stated. That was all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Information items, again, there's 5. Is there any that anybody wants to touch on? Councillor Brown.
I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but if I could just get my point across, then maybe I wouldn't be sounding like a broken record. But the stats, it would be nice to have comparative stats, not just a number. A number to me means absolutely nothing unless it's in comparison to some other number or for a time frame. This month's statistics, for instance, if we can look at it for this month, the year-to-date, compare it to the previous month and the previous year-to-date, that would help determining whether or not this was a good thing, a blip, and not a blip, whatever it is. And there was one other thing in that report that recreation, with the concession stand, page 62, Sean, you mentioned that we're reissuing the RFP. We're not doing that anymore, are we? This has already been done. Or are we going at it again?
Mr. Bowman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to Councillor Brown. No, that was already done. This section actually didn't change from the last report. In the absence of a director, I didn't edit it.
Anything further? The meeting is terminated. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.